Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1588, written by OK Blueberry, 9149. The Human Loop. Every day, I had the same 40-minute walk from my house to my classes. I left my house at the same time every day and would always cross paths with a gentleman walking his dog. Each morning I would pass through a forested path that eventually opened into a park. Then I would take the roads to my school. Every single day, this man would pass me just as I was exiting the forest that led to the park. And every single day, I would say good morning to him, just as he was entering the forest with his dog, for what I'm assuming was their morning walk. One morning I was running late. This time, I had crossed paths with the man sooner in my path, inside the forest, just before the exit of the forested path. It made perfect sense to me, because if I had left a few minutes earlier, I would have crossed paths with him after exiting the forest as usual. I said good morning, mentally took a note of how it was funny passing them in the forest for the first time, then exited the forest. Upon exiting the forest, I crossed paths with the same man and his dog at the usual place, and they passed me, entering the forest. Without even thinking, I said good morning, took a few steps, then stopped when I realized that I had just said good morning to this man and his dog a few minutes earlier in the forest. I turned around and watched the man and his dog continue into the forest. I was confused because I remember taking note of how it was interesting that I passed the man and his dog sooner in the forest, and how it completely made sense considering how I had left my house late. There was only one path, and there isn't any way the same man could have logically passed me and reappeared re-entering the forest. It was strange, and at first I didn't even notice because I was so used to seeing him right after exiting the forest. I'm not sure why it happened. This was the first glitch I have experienced, and I was sober. Case notes of file 1588. The Human Loop. A time and a place. Both are interconnected. They are woven of the same fabric and bound together. But you can travel through one or the other. At rest default state, for any human alive now, we're traveling almost 99.99% through time. Very little through space. And the faster you go through space, then the less you're traveling through time. They're an inverse relation, like a scale that's balanced. The more pressure you put on one, the more the other rises up. Now, there is a way to cheat and not accelerate through time or space, and that is through space-time portals, which are probably just wormholes, and in this case, artificial is my guess. And they can send you down the river of time, if that is calibrated for time instead of space. In this case, that's what I think happened. You went down the river of time in the past for just a few minutes, and I think if you had a watch or your phone on you before, and you looked at the time before and after, you'd notice a few minutes would be out of sync. But then the question is, are you still in the same universe? When you traverse through these space-time portals, in time to the past, there is a theory in time travel, if you're going to the past, that then you occupy a new universe in that past, because otherwise you get paradoxes. But if not, if you're in the same universe, that plays host to quite a few troubling thoughts. The most prominent one is for the man that walked with his dog. Did he see you twice? So the first time, as you're exiting the forest, for you is the second time you're seeing the man, and for him it's the first time. And then inside the forest, it would be the second time, and for you it would be the first time. I wonder if he looked confused at all. He probably wouldn't say anything anyways, like you wouldn't say anything to him. Most likely though, to preserve against paradoxes, you are now in a new universe. It is a way to go to a different universe outside of quantum immortality, space-time portals. If you go to the past, I don't think it's necessary if you go to the future or you just travel through space itself. Case file number 1589, written by Appropriate Horror, 677. Bedsheet Blues. This happened a couple years ago and it's very silly, but I thought I'd share. I bought some metallic blue nail polish and did my nails as usual. The next day I was changing my bed sheets and noticed a piece of what I think was dried blue nail polish between the sheets and the mattress. My first thought was that it had chipped, so I checked my nails, but they were perfect. I picked up the little dried piece and compared it with my nails. Not only was it the exact same shade of metallic blue, the shape also matched my right index finger's nail. I find that very weird because I live alone and don't have any other polishes of that color. Honestly, I don't even like blue that much, so I don't have blue objects that could have chipped either, let alone in my room. I just shrugged it off and go about my day. 4 or so days pass, and I'm changing my bedsheets again, While in the same corner where I found the blue chip, the mattress slips from my hand and bends my index finger's nail. It hurts, so I check, and it has caused the blue polish to chip. I immediately remember what happened some days ago and start looking for the piece of polish. I never found it. I'm a skeptic and I'm aware of all the possible explanations, like I had chipped my polish beforehand without noticing, the blue chip I found wasn't polish, etc. But the way everything fits, the shapes, the colors, the place where it happened, it's pretty weird. Case notes or file 1589, Bedsheet Blues. So the initial fragment of polish that you found, it went missing after you found the real one in the future, which makes you question, was that fragment ever real at all? Was it simply a product of your subconscious, trying to relay future information that it received in a format you would know? It knew what was going to happen and it just showed you beforehand. Now why your subconscious would choose this? Or maybe it was some other entity that rammed it through, almost like loading a program onto a computer and executing. If it was someone else, why? Why would it matter if you knew this ahead of time? I don't have an answer to that one, but it is disconcerting, no matter the answer. Case file number 1590, written by midoriw, The Predestined Path to Love. My boyfriend and I have bumped into each other at least twice before actually meeting in 2008. In June 06, we were both in Frankfurt with our families during the World Cup. Neither of us were there to actually attend, we just happened to be in town. He was in the lobby of his hotel, I was leaving a restaurant. We can both remember a specifically rowdy and drunk bunch of Portuguese men leaving a bar, flags draped around their bodies, and busting out into "Ole, ole, ole, Portugal, Portugal." From my point of view, after the group passed, I noticed a kid with an Apple laptop. They weren't ubiquitous then, covered in stickers. No eye contact, no meeting. Boyfriend shows me an old album later and the laptop I saw is his. He doesn't remember seeing me. But some other time later, he mentioned in passing that he had weird thoughts about having a girlfriend with purple hair when he was younger. I had purple bangs during the 2006 World Cup. In 07, we both applied to USC, him from a Northern California school, myself from Tri-State, to the same program in the same college. We both flew to LAX on United, stayed with our then significant others in the LA area, and on Columbus Day, went to USC for an interview with some dean or head of the program. We checked our old school emails, and our tour and interview slots were back to back. But neither of us remember seeing the other. We then returned to LAX at the same time and left from the same terminal on United. We both chose not to go to USC. We met on Facebook. I know. In 08 and discovered we would be attending the same university in a few months, where we finally met in real life. Case notes are file 1590, The Predestined Path to Love. Adjustment Bureau indeed. Again, guardian angels, classic angels, aliens, dungeon masters. Who knows how many people are out there influencing us, or people entities, or our own governments too. There are just so many forces that could be out there responsible for influencing, pushing, manipulating, strategizing our own lives for us. I don't like that at all. Almost makes me angry to think about. But I do think it's true. At least for some people. Maybe not every single person on the planet. 8 billion people, that's a lot of people to manage. But for some maybe key players, they're trying to direct them in a certain path for some outcome that we can't even hope to understand. Ultimately though, I like to think that we do have the ultimate say. We have free will. So if we choose something, it's our choice. But if you're confined down a certain road, a certain path that was pre-made for you, and even if there's a fork in the road that is organized for you, constructed for you, and every path leads back to the same thing, it curves and twists back to contort to where you're supposed to go, I think the only way to beat it is to go off the path. Do things you wouldn't normally do. Break the mold. If you want to taste real freedom. And there's actually a theme in this in Final Fantasy VII, the remake of the game. Towards the end of it, you're met with these spirits, these entities of magic and destiny, they call it. And they don't want you to break free. You have to fight against it, rage against it. And then if you manage it, well, Aerith, one of the characters, asks a very specific question, and that is, are you ready? Because now you're going to embrace real freedom. There's total chaos out there. Nothing is there to protect you. It's only you. So are you ready? Now time for the quote of the day. If you limit your choices only to what seems possible or reasonable, you disconnect yourself from what you truly want and all that is left is a compromise. Robert Fritz. Well, speaking about real freedom and being influenced, yeah, all of society, just in a general sense, not speaking of aliens or the CIA or anything, is trying to influence you down a certain path. Are you going to let it? Try to analyze the possible futures that path could lead to. Make sure it's something you really want, not just something you're doing because it's expected of you. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.